know what you're thinking.
Oh, what the is going on?
I thought the same thing. So I went back and replayed the scene just to make sure that I wasn't seeing things. And sadly, the result was the same. Still 99%, still no 100% scene. So then, what happened? The first thing I did was consult the guide that I was following for this playthrough to see if I deviated from any of the instructions, because I like to think I know the answer, even if I actually don't. But I did everything that the guide told me to. I talked to everyone the guide pointed out, when they pointed out, and while sure there were some things that I did do out of order, I still did them, so that shouldn't have affected anything. So because the guide yielded no clue, I turned to Google, wondering if maybe I'd encountered some kind of game-breaking glitch. Like, if I had done something that didn't populate properly in the game data, therefore it didn't count. But that's where I discovered exactly where it was that I went wrong. The 100% completion guide that I was following, written by Keyblade999 and available on GameFAQs.gamespot.com, isn't as complete as it claimed to be, regardless of what the disclaimer tries to tell you. So, some of you might be wondering why I chose to follow Keyblade999's guide at all, since there are threads on Reddit talking about how inaccurate it was. Well, for starters, I didn't see those threads. Not until after I tried to figure out what went wrong with my playthrough. And I probably should have, but hindsight is 2020 after all. But the main reason I opted to use this guide at all was that I had already benefited from Keyblade999's guides before, specifically the one that I had used during my long play of Final Fantasy X. I had no problems using this particular guide. It was accurate, clean, and easy to read, everything I look for in a game guide. So, with that in mind, it made perfect sense for me to also use his guide for the sequel, and it's only now that I've realized that this guide is so flawed. Not only do his percentage checkpoints not line up with the game, but it's also missing some key details while inventing others, all of which contributed to my failed run. But now that I know where I went wrong, I'm left with some options on what to do going forward. Option 1. Accept that the run is dead and just end the series here. It's a viable option, albeit an unsatisfactory one. While committing to a 100% completion playthrough wasn't exactly necessary, given that I'd already long played the original game without such hangups, I'd specifically chosen to do so in this case because I had already played through Final Fantasy X too, and I wanted to shake things up for myself a bit. I'd always known that achieving 100% through a single playthrough was doable, but I'd never actually done it for myself. If I achieved 100% completion at all, it was always through New Game Plus, back when I played this game on the PlayStation 2. And taking that into consideration, I'm in North America, so I didn't get access to the PAL or international versions. So I didn't have access to Creature Creator, the Fiend Arena, or the 2 additional Dress Spheres, Festivalist and Psychic. Otherwise, everything about the PAL and international version, when compared to the PS2 North American release, was basically the same. So by adding the additional challenge to gain 100% story completion, I was giving myself something to strive for, something to make this whole thing a lot more interesting than simply playing through the game, and especially given that I had opted for the silent long play option over the Let's Play renditions. I just didn't want it to be boring for anyone, or for myself, or for whoever opted to check out this video series. And even though I was still able to experience some things that I hadn't before, the aforementioned PAL additions to the fact that you can actually talk to everybody on the Celsius even after initiating the journey to the far plane abyss, it just feels like a cop-out to wave the white flag and just end it here with a big fat I couldn't do it. Option 2. Except that I couldn't get 100% in a single playthrough and start up a New Game Plus to farm the remaining percentage point. This is another viable and somewhat appealing option, because even though I would be replaying the game again, I could also deviate from the choices I'd made previously and explore other avenues of the game that the story had to offer, like choosing to side with New Yevon over the Youth League, or choosing a different culprit for the Me and High Road mystery. Y'all know who I'd want to pick this time around, even if it does mean no Ragnarok. I could also properly explore Creature Creator and build a team of fiends to fight my enemies instead of just using YRP, especially since I've pretty much shown off most, if not all, of the accessible dress spheres on our 3 leading ladies. But as appealing as this is, it also feels like an even cheaper cop-out, especially considering the tagline of 100% completion. It feels like I'm just admitting that it's not possible to get 100% completion in a single playthrough, even though it is, and to simply just play the game as it was originally intended, meaning multiple playthroughs. And even though I do have some games that I would like to explore a second playthrough with for new content and all of that, I just feel like I shouldn't have to with this one, especially when you consider the circumstances here. Option 3. Find some way to salvage this run. It's not ideal, considering I'd have to comb through my game files and figure out exactly where it was I went wrong. Moreover, I'd have to find another guide, hopefully one that has the information that Keyblade 999's guide didn't, and hope that it'd be enough. But it's also the most appealing, so that's the option I ended up going with. Eventually, I opted for a guide I found on Steam, but one of the biggest takeaways from this find was that it gave me information I hadn't known even existed. Included in the very first paragraph of this new guide is a link to a Final Fantasy X-2 save file viewer, which not only includes a checklist of what needs to be done each chapter in order to get 100% completion, but also tracks your save file's progress towards this goal. So, because I was curious, I loaded my original save file from the save from before I beat Vegnagun to see what it was I had missed. The best case scenario was, if it was something within chapter 5, I could go back and fix it real quick. But even if I had to reload a save from chapters 3 or 4, it was still better than having to start the game over from the beginning. But of course, I wasn't so lucky. Just for context, I missed 2 things out of chapter 1 and 1 thing from chapter 2. Which means that my run for the series did not actually end at strictly 99%. It was 99.4. And just for fun, because, salt in the wound, I cross-referenced what I had missed with information from Keyblade 999's guide, just in case I really did miss something that he had actually accounted for, and I'm just a big scrub because, that happens. And sure enough, I was right. There are things he does not mention at all, like the fact that you have to watch the treasure sphere immediately after the prologue, but before going to Mount Gagazet during chapter 1. Nor does he mention that you need to talk to the goons outside of Chateau LeBlanc before you have obtained the Syndicate uniforms in chapter 2 for a unique scene. He did, however, mention that I needed to talk to Donga in the Macarena Woods in chapter 1, along with all the other instrument people. That miss was all on me, but taking into account how much each of those points are worth, he still cost me 4% out of the 6% that I lost out on, so I am still a little salty about that. But with this news comes the great realization that the option to revive the run is no longer viable. Because of just how far back I have to start again to get every single thing I missed. The treasure sphere scene specifically, the one with the non-negotiable checkpoint that cannot be made up at any other point, ensures that whatever I do outside of starting the game from scratch, it will end the same way, with the failed 100% completion run.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Option 4, restart the run from scratch. The least appealing option of them all, but unless I'm willing to compromise with the first two options, it's also my only option. Starting the game from scratch, I played through it again, this time using the Steam guide while armed with the save file viewer. But as luck would have it, the Steam guide is just as flawed as Keyblade 999's because while the inclusion of pictures was very nice and very appreciated, it lacked a guide for the PR and matchmaking side quests that are required for the Calmlands episode complete, which is also required for 100% completion. So I had to hunt for another guide to cover that section of the game. I also used that same new guide to help track the completion percentages in addition to the Steam guide, as well as referencing Keyblade 999's guide, because while the latter is still flawed, there are still some things in there that I found extremely useful. But let us count the ways, all the parts that I thought that I would never have to play through again. Like blue bullet farming, collecting and watching all 8 of the Crimson Spheres and the 2 reports, protecting the cargo,
Rides the shoe pop,
protecting Owaka from the consequences of his mistakes, telling Kimari to think for himself, the PR and matchmaking bullshit, talking to that one guy in Kilika in chapters 1, 3, and 5, joining the Youth League, the Gunner's Gauntlet, catching all the monkeys in Kilika, telling off Sid for turning Xanarkand into a tourist trap, sabotaging Xanarkand by matchmaking all the monkeys. The calibration minigame.
Who the heck is Len?
Acting as a life coach for Clasco, saving Kali from the Chocobo Eater, all of the Bevel Underground.
I don't take orders.
Spear Break, saving Stupid from themselves, making peace between the Guado and the Ronzo, making Riku a careless culprit, spying on the people of Spira.
You did not see anything.
I didn't see a thing.
Getting Waka to name his kid, watching Becklem kill a guy,
Practice harder!
beat up the Albed's experiment, save Sid from himself and explore a secret dungeon for loot, shoot some cactuars in the face, and destroy an ancient fiend. Realize that we're that kid from The Sixth Sense.
Gramps, you're dead?
Mortifying, isn't it?
Raid the Guado's memory closet, chase a Moogle around Luca, get grossed out by some bugs, learn how the Gullwings came to be, and obtain their prized dress spear.
What the hell is this?
Reach the far plane abyss 5 times. And finally, kill the world's most sensitive machina ever. Then watch the credits roll and hope we got it. And there you have it. We've finished the game. Now for the part that you've all been waiting for. My thoughts.
You want me to hurt him? That'd be great!
Nobody gives a shit about what I think about this game. You're all just here for the post-credit scene. Admit it. But before we jump into that, I do have one last question I have to answer. Was it worth it? Absolutely fucking not. I said it before. Hindsight is 2020. And present me is currently wanting to kick past me's ass for not just opting to quit or start New Game Plus. Because while I can say I did do it in one go, it was probably one of the most tedious fucking experiences I have ever put myself through.
Well, that would make you the winning loser, wouldn't it?
The fact that I had to do it twice is probably the reason I feel this way, admittedly. And looking back, I might not feel as much regret as I do in this very moment. Moreover, the advice that I'd give anyone attempting to do this shit is this. Just play New Game Plus. As I mentioned before, you get to explore avenues you didn't previously, and the story in-game itself opens up in a much more expressive and enticing way, especially with the inclusion of Creature Creator, which, while I hated initially, it's kind of grown on me. But if you're stubborn like me and feel like you have to at least try to get it all done in one playthrough, then my advice is simple. Don't just rely on a single guide like I did. There is no perfect guide to get 100% completion on a single playthrough. Use multiple. I wouldn't even recommend using my long play as a guide because we all know how that ended. And if you are following along and using it as a guide, then my deepest and humblest apologies. I feel absolutely shitty if that's what's happened. Don't be afraid to look something up. Whether this is your first time playing the game or if you've beaten it before, we are all flawed human beings and shit happens. But with all that said and done, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series as flawed as it was. If you did, please leave a like or subscribe to the channel. If not, leave a comment below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until the next time, until the next series, ciao. And I don't know, maybe I will do a reflections video or something.
Are you real?
I think so. Do I pass?
You're back.
I am back. I'm home.
Welcome home. Yes, home.
What's up?
Who asked you to watch, Waka? Huh? Hey! Whoa! You know, you've changed.
Well, you've missed a few things.
I want to hear everything.
Well, it all began when I saw this sphere of you.
I got a theory. I think the faith gathered up my thoughts and put them together to bring me back. Maybe. Something like that. Or maybe I'm still a dream.
Wait! So you'll disappear?
Cherish me, Yuna. And I'll cherish you. All right? We gotta stay together. That's what we have to do.
Is that what the faith told you?
Nah, but I like it. Hey! Oh! Hey, that's not cherishing.
You didn't disappear.